A Quebec Superior Court judge has authorized a class action lawsuit against Apple Canada. To see if this affects you, let's join one of the lawyers behind this case. Michael Vathilakis of Renno Vathilakis joins me now. Michael, good morning.
Good morning.
So, you've gotten approval, but why don't you tell me just what kind of lawsuit the judge has approved?
Okay, so for anyone who's purchased any type of Apple product as of December 29th, 2014, that would include, for instance, iPhone, an Apple Watch, iPad, iPod, MacBook.
This is like the entirety of the population, huh? Like,
it's funny. I was asked yesterday in an interview how many people I think this affects, and I have no idea. I mean, I agree with you. It probably is almost everyone.
Yep.
So there are two issues here. For anyone who purchased anyone who purchased one of those is eligible, and the idea, or rather the allegation behind the suit and the authorization, is essentially that Apple needed to provide information with respect to the adequacy or inadequacy of its batteries and its battery life that it didn't do. Okay. In addition, in Quebec, actually anywhere, Apple sells something called Apple Care.
Yep.
And
that's their branding on their extended warranties.
Correct. And in Quebec, a consumer is automatically protected by way of the Consumer Protection Act. And what we're alleging, or what our class members are alleging, is that Apple failed to notify the public, which you're supposed to do in Quebec, to let them know that prior to purchasing any type of Apple Care warranty, that there is a warranty afforded, a free warranty afforded to the consumer by way of the Consumer Protection Act.
Okay, so Michael, I get that. I get both of those issues. I guess my main question is, when I look at all technology that's sold by all the companies, you got LG, Huawei, Samsung, everybody, to me, would fall in that category. So why the focus here on Apple? Is it because they're the big player, so you want to focus at the top?
No, not at all. So one, I don't know if it applies. I mean, let me start by saying this. I actually don't know if it applies to everybody. I don't know what the adequacy or inadequacy of the batteries, for instance, for any kind of Samsung or any kind of Huawei phone. So I'm not sure that that's entirely accurate. I do know that when this was brought to us, the issue was truly the Apple batteries. And as we started to look into it, the issue became that the Apple batteries, and for some of these products, keep in mind that you're paying, or the consumer is paying, what, $1,000?
Yeah, more. More. So, some of the new devices, you're talking $3,000. Yeah,
you're right. The MacBooks are in there. You're right. So the expectation is that for a product of that type, you will get, one, the information relating to that, or most importantly, the information relating to the adequacy or inadequacy of that battery. So I don't know if it's the same thing for Huawei. And keep another thing in mind.
Well, let me tell you this, from my perspective, because listen, I'm a lover of technology, and to me, it doesn't matter what phone you have. Everyone complains about their battery life. That's like just the thing about batteries, right? There's certain things about batteries that are not specific to Apple. Everyone has these issues where batteries eventually lose their charge. These rechargeable batteries, they lose that. So to me, it's just curious, because when I look at the entire technology situation, like if you're a consumer in Quebec and you try and buy a smartphone, let's keep it on smartphones from any of these companies, the real difference that I see is that, well, Apple does provide leading, and this isn't me saying it. It's the technology publications that rank this stuff. Their customer support is generally ranked at number 1 in the industry. They've got actual physical stores in Quebec, whereas probably all of their competitors don't really have that same store system. So that's why I find it curious. Like
you're raising a great point. Yeah. Okay, so the great point that you're raising is that Apple has its own stores. So let's start there for a moment. Okay.
Yeah.
Apple does have its own stores. So Apple, in selling you, and I'm going to link both. Okay. I'm not running from your question.
Yeah.
So Apple, for instance, because you purchase their products only in an Apple store, they have the obligation to tell you are covered by way of the Consumer Protection Act. You ask me why Apple. Well, Apple products are sold in Apple stores, and if Apple isn't adhering to that obligation, it's going to be done with respect to their own stores to begin with.
Yeah.
Okay. With respect to the battery, as opposed to, a Samsung, a Huawei, which I suppose you can purchase, I don't know, almost anywhere. I would think. I don't know. I actually.
Yeah. They're everywhere. Yeah.
So it isn't the same thing. And then with respect to their customer service, there's no There's no allegation here as to whether or not they have great or terrible customer service. The issue is, if you're not being given the requisite information with respect to something such as battery life, well, I don't want to be relying on customer service every 2 weeks in order to have my product repaired.
Yeah. Well, so Michael, listen, I've never bought Apple's extended warranty, right? And I tell people when it comes to extended warranties here in Quebec, you're covered by the Consumer Protection Act, which affords you an actual real warranty. But everywhere I go, if I go into a store to buy a new TV set, they're trying to sell me the extended warranty, which I laugh about, right? If you buy it on a credit card, most credit cards will double your warranty guaranteed. And then secondly, your TV set's supposed to last 5 years, and that's a matter of law under the Consumer Protection Act, but they're still trying to sell you the warranty. So I guess that's my question is, why is it so special here? Every store is guilty of this. Everyone's trying to sell you the extended warranties, even though you're covered in Quebec. So why specifically target Apple? Or conversely, are you going to follow up and go after other companies as well?
So let me answer. So number one, you are what I would term a very informed consumer. Okay, most people, I shouldn't say most people, a lot of people are not as informed as you are, right? You walk in and all of a sudden you're being told, if anything goes wrong with your TV, you can bring it right back here if you buy our extended warranty. There is something to be said for that, insurance or that security blanket that they end up, selling to you. Okay. So with respect to why Apple, again, Apple sells directly from its own stores. So when I tell you, when someone comes to see us and says, guys, this has been the issue. Remember, now we have a plaintiff that comes to us and says, this has been the issue. Owns an Apple phone, right? In this case, it happened to be an Apple phone, by the way, an actual iPhone, even though it covers all of the products. And, I bought this, or I was told I needed to buy this Apple Care product, and I was never informed. And this being the key thing, I don't know what Best Buy does. I don't know what other stores do. I don't know if they're informing you or the public, or if they have sheets of paper on their desks.
I'm running out of time. Michael. I just want to know. So in Quebec, the law states that Apple does have to inform you of this before you buy that Apple Care.
Well, it's not that Apple has to. There's an obligation for any vendor.
Any vendor,
you that you're covered by way of the LPC, or the Consumer Protection Act in English.
And Michael, one last question for you: who's included in this? And do people have to do anything to be a part of this?
Not a thing.
Okay.
Not a thing. So it's anybody who's bought any kind of Apple product since December, the ones that I listed at the outset, December 29th, 2014, or anyone who's bought the Apple Care a year later, end of December, since end of December 2015. There's nothing for them to do. What people can do to sort of stay on top of it, they can give you two very quick websites. They can go to www.renvath.com. Okay, you'll see it under class actions, or they can stay up to date by way of www.lpclex.com.
Okay, Michael, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for your time.
Michael Vathilakis of Renno Vathilakis on this Apple class action lawsuit that's just been authorized by a Quebec court.